There's a video you've probably seen. Someone takes $1,000 phone, pulls it apart, and tells you the truth. The parts inside only cost about $485. The rest, they say, is profit. You're paying for the logo. It's a great story. It's also completely wrong, or at least, it's measuring the wrong thing. Because the most expensive part of your phone was paid for years before your phone existed, inside a building that costs more than every football stadium in America put together, and you helped pay for it. So, what does your phone really cost? Let's start with the answer you came for, because it's true as far as it goes. Tear a modern flagship phone apart. Add up the screen, the battery, the cameras, the casing, and you land somewhere around $485 in parts and assembly. It sells for $1,200. So, case closed. You're paying a $700 markup for a brand, except there's one piece in that pile that breaks the whole story. It's smaller than your fingernail. On the parts list, it's just a line item worth a few tens of dollars. But that number is a lie, because it hides the single most expensive thing human beings have ever learned to make: the processor. That sliver of silicon is the brain of your phone. And to make it, you cannot just open a factory. There are only a handful of places on the entire planet capable of producing a chip this advanced. Building one of them, a single leading-edge chip fab, costs between $20 and $30 billion. That's not a typo. One factory costs more than 15 of the tallest skyscraper on Earth. And at the heart of it sits a machine so complex, it's arguably the most sophisticated device our species has ever built. An EUV lithography machine, which carves features into silicon using light finer than anything in nature. Just one of them costs around $400 million. The price of a fully loaded jumbo jet. A single fab needs dozens, and then the making itself. Your chip doesn't get stamped out in seconds. It's built up, layer by microscopic layer, across as many as 1,000 separate steps. A journey that takes 3 to 4 months, from blank wafer to finished brain. One of those wafers, before it's even cut into chips, is worth around $20,000. Every phone you've ever owned carried a piece of that $4 billion process in its pocket. And you never thought about it once. Here's what makes it stranger. All of that, the fab, the machines, the months, is just to manufacture the chip. Before any of it, someone has to design it. And designing a single cutting-edge processor now costs somewhere around $500 million before one is ever etched. And now the part that should change how you see the thing in your hand. Because this was never a story about one brand. It doesn't matter whether your phone is the newest $1,000 flagship or a cheap one, whether it runs iOS or Android. The advanced chip inside almost all of them comes from the same tiny club. On the entire planet, only 3 companies are capable of making a leading-edge chip at all. And the most advanced ones. Around 90% come from a single company, on a single island. You don't really buy a smartphone. You buy a ticket into the most concentrated industry on Earth. And none of it shows up when someone tells you your phone only cost $485. So what does your phone actually cost? Not the parts, not even the markup. When you buy any phone, you pay your tiny, fractional share of the most concentrated, most expensive industrial effort the human race has ever attempted. And it's getting more extreme, not less. The newest factory being built to make these chips will cost around $165 billion, the single largest foreign investment in the entire history of the United States. One factory. For the brain of a phone. You didn't pay for a gadget. You paid for a sliver of a factory that only a handful of nations on Earth could ever afford to build. That's the hidden cost of a smartphone. The price was never in the box. It was in the buildings and the whole fragile billion-dollar world you'll never see. Let's make that real. A single advanced chip factory costs more than every stadium in the National Football League combined. The one machine at its core costs as much as a fully loaded passenger jet, and a factory needs dozens of them. The very newest of these factories costs more than most entire countries produce in a year. And here's the line to remember. Nearly every smartphone on Earth, every brand, every price, in every pocket on every continent, runs on a chip that essentially 3 companies can make, most of them from a single island. The most common object in human history rests on one of the narrowest, most expensive foundations we have ever built. You're holding the tip of it. So the next time someone tells you what your phone really costs by adding up its parts, you'll know they're reading the wrong receipt. The true price of the thing in your pocket was paid in clean rooms and billion-dollar machines by an industry betting fortunes years before you ever walked into the store. That's what we do here. We find the bill that isn't on the receipt. This was Cost Atlas, the hidden cost of everything. See you in the next one.